We're live! Hello everybody, welcome along to the live stream. For those that don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey. I'm one of the presenters right here on Adorama TV, and you're watching Adorama TV live. Thank you very much for joining me. We're going to be doing some stuff with Flash today, I think. Yes, well, definitely stuff with Flash. Off to a flying start. We are completely live. Anything could happen, including me tripping over the light stand. That's pretty much guaranteed, actually. If you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying me tripping over, give me the thumbs up, put a comment in. It's really useful, but I'm not here on my own, so let me introduce the other side of the camera. I've got Freya on the Super Switcher, Sam on the comments. Say hello. There they are.
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Got lots of people here?
Yes, have we?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Lots and lots of people here. Would you like to know where they're from?
I'd like to know everybody.
Some of them.
In alphabetical order.
I can't do that. So we've got Zurich, we've got Bedfordshire, I know where that is, Canada. There was a really interesting one down here that caught my attention, and I can't find it now, but they were at Niagara Falls. Which I thought was very cool. Yeah, can you hear anything? We've got Kuwait, we've got Haiti, we've got Poland. Lots and lots and lots of people here already, so I hope you enjoy it.
Fantastic. Because it's live, I've got absolutely nothing set up, despite having spent the last half an hour setting everything up. So let me just make sure this is all working. Marvellous, we are up and running. Okay, so today we're going to be doing flash settings you really need to know. So I've got a flash here. We can go for a really good close-up of this and have a little look at the flash. And let's run through some basic stuff before we get going with actual photography. So I'm using the Flashpoint Explore 400 for this demo, but that is not an important part of it. It's just, this has got a nice big screen, which makes it relatively easy for you to see what's going on, okay? This is kind of like, there it is. Sorry, I should have given you a warning. There should be a warning on the screen before I do that. Okay, so I'm going to go through the absolute must-know settings, and perhaps the most important one is, where is your power button? And I know that sounds really daft, but there have been, on occasions, very rarely, where I've actually put the light right at the top and then forgotten to turn it on. I know I don't do it very often, but you know, once or twice in my life I've done that. So knowing where the power button is and what you have to turn or press or do to actually make it come alive when it's way up in the air is really useful. So try and learn that with your eyes closed on your flashes, because that will come in super useful. All right, you've turned it on. Brilliant. The next must-know thing I'm going to suggest is this button right here. Now, it's going to be different for different flashes. I'm using this flash because it kind of has a lot of things that most flashes will have. But if you're going to work wirelessly remote flashes, which is exactly what we're going to be doing, you need to turn on the actual wireless button. So this button will allow the flash unit to receive information from my transmitter. There's a little tiny kind of thing there, and it has a CH channel number. Now, make a note of the channel number, set it to whatever channel you like. If you're working in your own studio, it doesn't really matter. I generally recommend avoiding channels 1, 2, and 3, because that's where everybody puts it on and then gets bored. So I've gone with channel 5. That means if you do take it somewhere else, it's probably not going to be interfered with other people's flashes. Once you're on a channel, that's what you're going to dial into your transmitter, but we're not doing transmitters today, we are doing flashes. So your flash and your transmitter will both be on the same channel. Finally, for the quick intro, groups. So group A, if I press my little GR button, I can just toggle through the groups, B, C, D. Can you guess what comes next? Yep, it's E. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? And then back to A again. So this has 5 groups, meaning I can have 5 lights on 5 different power settings. Channels are for your entire studio. Groups are for your individual flashes, or maybe even a small group of flashes if they're all on the same power. So that's kind of your basic settings. I wanted to get through that really quickly because, let's face it, it's not that exciting, that bit. It's important, you need to know it, but it's not that exciting. Right, let's do something more exciting. Let's bring the awesome Chloe in. Give it up for Chloe. Woohoo! Okay, so Chloe is going to be the model for the rest of this session, and we're going to do some technical bits. We're going to do some less technical stuff. The first thing I'm actually going to do is, oh, can we go back to the close-up? I forgot, there's something I really should have done, is change the mode. So there are 3 modes with this particular flash. It has multi-mode I'll talk about multi-mode in a little bit, we'll come back to that. It has TTL mode and it has manual mode. Although manual mode is the one I use the most, I'm going to start us off in TTL mode. TTL, anyone know what TTL stands for? Top tip, it's not totally terrible light. It is meaning something else. So TTL is the flash type I'm going to be using. For those that like to know equipment, Flashpoint Explore 400 Pro and the Glow Easy Lock 12 by 36 inch quick softbox. There's gear links in the video description if you really want to go and find out what I'm using.
Everyone knows this already.
Oh, do they?
Lens. Yeah.
It's supposed to be like beginners.
Yeah, they're like totally on it.
Okay, what do they put?
Yeah, through the lens.
Okay, we'll come up with something harder.
Lens. Time to learn. Oh, I like that one.
There we are. Well done.
Through the lens. Through the lens. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, through the lens flash. So what's going to happen is my flash, my transmitter on my camera and my camera itself are all going to communicate, and it's going to take, it's not quite a meter reading, but it's going to take an estimated exposure value from the light that bounces off of Chloe and bounces back into my camera. That's really where it sort of works it out. It's not like your evaluative metering or spot metering. It's not that kind of metering, which does mean it can get things wrong, but on the other hand, it mostly gets it right because TTL has come a long way over the years, and depending on your camera brand, it may well be better than the one I'm about to show you. But anyway, there we go. You need to dial in some default settings. So let's go for manual mode. I'm going to go with 250th of a second, my flash sync speed, f5.6 for a reasonable depth of field, ISO 200, which is my camera's native ISO. And if I turn everything off and just take a picture of Chloe like this, you know what's coming. The most important picture you can take is this one. Okay, yeah, that's probably best to do that, otherwise everyone's going to think their screens have gone really wrong. No flash, no picture, okay? Whatever I'm doing, if I'm in the studio, that's what I'm trying to achieve. If I'm outside on location, it's a different story, but in the studio, no flash, no picture. Good news, I have control of the room lights. None of these lights are going to interfere with the picture.
Question? Reginald asked, this will work with any strobe or speedlight for the most part.
By and large, that is a good point, Reginald. So not all strobes have TTL functionality, and you need to make sure you have a transmitter that is compatible both with the strobe. There was a question from Nate right at the beginning, and I tried to answer it, but I couldn't get the comments to work, about whether transmitters work for all flashes. They don't. They only work for the range that you're working with. So a Pro Photo transmitter won't fire the Flashpoint Godox lights, for example. Okay, so you need to have a TTL compatible flash, a TTL compatible transmitter, and on some cameras, particularly older ones, you might need to turn on TTL somewhere in the camera settings, but I think by and large those cameras have probably disappeared. Okay, so everything's turned on. Let's make sure it fires when I press my test button. It does. Here we go, Chloe. Quick little test photo. I've done zero work. I've literally stood here, pressed the shutter, and it just works. I mean, you've got to love it. That's it, isn't it? Just getting to that point a few years ago was really hard work, and now, put it in TTL mode, job done. And then you think, okay, well, maybe I want to put the light a bit further back. I want to stick it way back over here, something like that. Okay, marvelous. Okay, not going to change anything. Just going to press the shutter, and I'm going to get, in my opinion, a slightly underexposed picture, but nonetheless, it just kind of works. Actually, it does help. Hang on a second. Can you all remove that from your memory? There we go. Fantastic. There we go. It does help to actually switch TTL on the transmitter, having said all that. It's live, okay? And you might have heard, I don't know if you heard it, I'm going to take another picture. See if you can listen to the pops. I'm going to stand up here. I do these things so you can learn. Did you hear that sort of double pop? I don't know if that will come over on the live. Yeah, okay. The double pop is important. That audibly tells you you're using TTL because it really is firing multiple bursts of light. It'll fire a pre-flash, which will bounce back into the lens, and it'll use that to calculate the amount of light it needs for the main flash, which is the final pop. It's clever, clever stuff. And it means it doesn't matter where you put your light, within reason, it'll just work. Okay. It's not perfect. I will demonstrate this by actually putting this to some practical value. But before I do, have we got any questions? Are we all right? Okay, so I thought, just for the fun of it, let's see if we can make this interesting by giving ourselves a little bit, I say ourselves, giving me a little bit of a challenge. Chloe's just going to be awesome. She's going to nail this. But for me, we're going to do 3 crazy minutes of photography. So for the next 3 minutes, I'm not going to ignore you. I'll keep talking, but Sam's going to collate any questions for the end, because I'm going to do a 3-minute TTL portrait session. Okay, let's pop this. Let's pretend this isn't where I want it. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Because Sam's going to count me down.
Are you ready?
Oh, I am ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, okay, here we go. So let's just start with wherever the light ended up last. Okay, this is good. Move my feet around, because moving your feet is a good thing. This isn't really a challenge for the lights. This is kind of straightforward. Okay, pretty good. Okay, let's move the light off to the side slightly. Here we go. Fantastic. So I'm going to bring the light in more from the edge. Okay. And I'm not going to adjust, if you're wondering.
You've had 30 seconds.
Oh, already? That's not too bad. If you're wondering, am I going to change the TTL settings because I haven't talked about that? No, I'm just going to let TTL do its thing. I'm also going to let Chloe do her thing. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, you did well. I was really missed that one completely. Oh, no, maybe I was better than I thought. Let's move this around here slightly. Here we go. Marvellous.
1 minute down.
Okay, 1 minute gone. We're a third of the way through. I honestly didn't think I was going to feel that much pressure. Suddenly thinking, oh, this is a crazy idea. Awesome. Chloe, do you want to go right up against the white wall? Let's try the white wall. Let's give this a challenge. Let's give it side lighting. Let's give it a twist. Okay, quick little test photo. Having said that, I'm using TTL. Let the camera do its thing. Okay, awesome. Marvellous, love this.
You are
Really
halfway
nice.
through, 1.5 crazy
Halfway through?
minutes left.
Oh, we're doing it right. Okay. Let's move that round then. Let's put the light really close. There we go. Let's see what happens. The thing I like about TTL is it is a great way to experiment. I can literally put the light anywhere and it just works. I don't have to worry about, is this exactly the right place? Am I in the right place? Okay, I wonder what happens if I put it the other side.
1 minute to
Try
go.
the other side. Oh, hang on. 1 minute to go. Okay, here we go. Coming around.
You've got lots of questions, but we'll get to them when he's finished. He's
Yeah.
got 45 crazy seconds left.
3 crazy minutes. Okay, give me a little flip. There we go. Hang on a second. Let me frame that up again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is amazing. I'm really tempted to go black and white, but I don't have the time just to do that right now. And this is a self-inflicted 3 minutes. Okay, shoulder right up against the wall.
20 seconds to go.
Oh my goodness, 20 seconds to go. I can do 20 seconds. Okay, let's go here. Right up against the wall, head against the wall. There it is. Let's just finish with some nice, safe pictures. Really lovely.
5, 4,
Glorious.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. And we're done. Oh, that was exciting.
Would you like some questions?
Yeah, let me have a little look at some photos.
Okay.
Yeah, go on and ask some questions.
Okay, let me work through ones that are relevant to that. Gunther said, this was right at the beginning, as we can see, consistency isn't great for TTL. So we'll see, won't we, when you work through.
We'll discuss that in a second, Duncan. But you're right.
And works TTL with several flashes? Can you do that? A couple of questions. Chris asked and somebody else did.
Yeah, okay, good question. Yes, you could have, we're going to set 2 flashes up in a minute, but you could have 2 flashes in TTL. Honestly, personally, I wouldn't recommend that. In my experience with my setup, it is not reliable enough. But yes, there's no reason at all why you couldn't have all of your lights in TTL.
Just one more while you're there. Does TTL work with HSS?
Yes, it does. Yeah, and that is a really good question because, thank you, Michael. That really is a good question because trying to get the exposure right with high-speed sync HSS, and we're going to talk about that later on, is challenging, and TTL can be the solution to that. Also, TTL combined with the TCM button is a very good way to use TTL, and we've got videos on that right here on Adorama TV. Go check it out after the live. After my live, before Daniel's live, go watch that video. You've got a 2-hour window, you can fit that in. Okay, so let's have a look at the photos, and yeah, I'm going to actually pull them up here, I think. Okay, here we go. Right, so where do we get to? We started off somewhere around about here, and I think you're right. I think there is, consistency is a question mark that I'm never really happy with TTL. I'm not worried about the aesthetics or anything like that, but you can see these images are way overexposed. That one looks about right on the exposure. It's right on the focus when it gets there as well. So that's okay. And then randomly it does that. And that's kind of what I find with the TTL is it works. Now, in the real world, this isn't real. This was a bit of fun to kind of test TTL. In the real world, you'd take this picture, realize that your TTL is not doing what it's supposed to do, and adjust the TTL. That's the right way to go. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about flash settings. So I merely left it in TTL and let it have a go. Having said that, that was exactly the next picture. Go figure. So yeah. So if you're looking for run and gun, if you're looking for quick ways of working, TTL is fantastic. If you're a wedding photographer, an events photographer, TTL is probably the way to go. If you put your lights mostly in front of your subject and not at the sides like I tend to do, TTL works most of the time. Okay, so that's TTL. Let's try something a little bit different. Can we go back to the camera? Oh yeah, okay. I can see on Freya's face I hadn't quite got it in the right place. Lots of practice just to do this bit, because this is quite hard doing this, I'll tell you now. Sorry if you're using a big screen. Okay, so TTL mode. TTL is what it is. It works really well, but I tend to work most of my time in manual mode. And we're going to repeat the process in a minute where we do 3 minutes in manual. But before we do, let's just sort of run through what differences I can do with manual mode that I couldn't do with TTL. Because if I come into TTL, there's a little dial in the middle here. If I spin this dial around, absolutely nothing happens. Notice that? I can go the other way and it doesn't happen that way either. Fun. You've got to press the set button on this particular flash, and that would allow me to adjust the TTL output, or I can do it from the transmitter, of course. In manual mode, it's completely different. I turn the dial and something happens. Yeah, and this is why learning your flashes, whatever flash you've got, is super important, because something that did nothing at all suddenly now does something. That's photography for you. And on this particular flash, I can adjust the flash output in tenths of a stop. If you want to adjust it in thirds of a stop, the transmitter will do it in thirds of a stop for you. So I can be very precise about the light output. But unlike TTL, where it'll constantly shift this around every single time I press the shutter, with manual, if I dial in 1/32nd power, there we go, that is exactly what I will get until I say otherwise. Let's test it. Let's find that out. So, Chloe, I'm going to get this and pop it up here somewhere. Here we go. Marvellous. And we'll put it a little higher, something like that. I think we were roughly around about there when we did the TTL first picture. Now, I need to get the exposure right. I could use a flash meter. I like using flash meters, but I can also use trial and error, which is what I'll do for this little bit. Okie dokie, Chloe, here we go. So, my transmitter is in manual mode. Everything is in 1/32nd power, it's all good. My camera settings remain unchanged. 250th of a second, f5.6, ISO 200. I haven't changed those. Okay, Chloe, here we go, quick test photo. And at 1/32nd power, oh, hang on, 1/32nd power, Helps to be on the right bit of software. Boom. What do we reckon? Too bright, too dark? You were about 10 seconds behind me, so I have to kind of fill for 10 seconds plus typing time. Too bright, too dark. Yeah. What do you think? Too bright, too dark. And this is trial and error. You take a picture, you look at it, you review it, and then you make a judgment call on whether you think it's too bright or too dark. There was a very important word in there.
So we've got a little dark, looks right, but I like low key. A bit dark. Tone looks nice though. Just right, underexposed, dark.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting. Spot on.
Right, everybody's wrong. Absolutely everybody is wrong. Because it's whatever I think is the right answer. It's my photo, I pressed the shutter, I chose it. If I think this is what I wanted, I nailed it. So the person who said they like low key,
actually, not everyone's wrong, because Mr. English Golfer, that's Steve. If you like it, then it's right.
Steve, well done, well remembered. Yes, exactly that. As the photographer, you make the decisions. Everybody in the world can disagree with you, but ultimately, it's yours. It's up to. I think you're right, though. It is too dark, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's too dark. So I want to make this one stop brighter. Let's come up here. I could reach up to my flash and do it, but I'm not going to because it's a long way up there. So I'm going to do it on the transmitter instead. Hang on, here we go. So 1/32 power. I want to increase the power by 1 stop. This is going to go the wrong way. I knew it was going to go the wrong way. There we go. 1/16 power. That is 1 more stop of light. Every time you double or half the number, you add or remove a stop of light. Twice the amount of light. Okay, let's see what 1 more stop of light does. The other thing to remember as well, your screen is lying to you. Your screen, unless you've calibrated it and you're looking on a perfectly calibrated screen, there's a high chance that what you're seeing is very different to what I'm seeing. I mean, I've got several screens in here, none of them match. So don't trust your screen, don't trust your camera, trust the histogram if you want to review something. Okay, so I think that's all right. That's pretty good. Personally, I like to use a flash meter. There are lots of different light meters. This is the Sekonic 858. There we go. All I have to do with this is dial in my shutter speed, 250, which is the T for time, my ISO, which is 200, and then it'll tell me the f-stop. Chloe, I'm going to pop this near your chin. Apparently it won't. Because we're live. Hang on, Chloe, hang on a second. It will if I press that button. Yeah. Okay, let's try that again, but that's just reset everything because that's what these things do.
You've got a question?
1 second. Yeah, far away.
So Greg asked or said, do you not fire the flash after you've changed the setting?
No, that is a good question, Greg. I don't fire the flash after I've changed the setting. So on some flashes, that's a very good point. On some flashes, when you change the power down, it's still got the higher power in its capacitor. It's still charged up, and you have to discharge it to actually then charge it back up to the correct amount. So normally those sorts of flashes are at the cheaper end of the spectrum or the older end of the age range as far as flashes go. Modern flashes like we're using here, they have the ability just to change and charge as you wish. So if you still have one of those, yeah, things have moved on a little bit in flash technology. Okay, so my flash meter is telling me that's about a stop too bright. Flash meters are only a guide. Okay, let's just see. Let's take another photo and see if it agrees. Yeah. Personally, I'm kind of happy with it like that. But a flash meter will get you close. A flash meter will give you a guide, but it doesn't have to be necessarily accurate. All right, enough talking. Let's do take-in. So let's have 3 crazy minutes on the clock that no one can see. Yeah, we did think about doing an animated clock, but there were, you know.
Well, yeah. Last minute.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so you have 3 crazy minutes.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, well, it'd be cheating just to start here, wouldn't it? So do you want to go back against the wall? Smash in. There we go. Lovely. Let's get my flash meter and see what we've got. I'm going too fast already. Okay, that's great. So let's take that picture. I slightly cheated by not really moving the flash distance. Okay, that's great. Smash in. Whoop, double take. Awesome. going to move around a little bit. I'm going to step around Chloe. So with manual, I don't have to worry about the flash power as long as Chloe doesn't move away from the flash and the flash doesn't move from Chloe. Even if I move, I'm going to get a consistent result. Okay, which is nice. Do you want to give us a little flick of the dress? Okay, that's not bad. I need to work on this though. So I need to move that flash backwards a bit, just to try and get a little bit more light. Let's pop this over this side. Now I've changed something, I'm going to have to re-meter. Okay, Chloe, I'm going to pop this near your chin.
You've had 1 minute, so you've got 2 minutes to go. So if you miss what's happening, Gavin is doing a couple of minutes challenge. Well, it was 3 minutes, it's less than 2 now. And I will get to your questions afterwards.
Okay, so less thrilled with the lighting, but it's kind of even and it's consistent. Okay, let's go. I should count you in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom. Okay, that's pretty good. That's not too bad. I think I can probably do a little bit better with the lighting, even in the time scale. Right, moved it closer to Chloe.
1.5 minutes to go.
Okay, smash in. Okay, I'm gonna pop this on your chin. Okay, adjusting that. Okay, cool. Lovely. That's nice. Ready? 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do two more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And one last one. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Okay. Cool. We've probably got about a minute.
We've got a minute to go.
Right, okay. Let's bring this over here because we did some white stuff on the TTL. It seems only fair. Do exactly the same here. Okay. Try not to trip over the cable because no one wants to see me drop the camera on the floor. Never done that before. First time. Okay. Now's not the time to do it. First time ever. Okay. That's great. Okie dokie, let's just see where we're at. Okay, yeah, this is great. Here we go. Marvelous.
30 seconds.
Okay, superb. Really nice. Going to move myself around a little bit just to get a little bit more drama into these pictures. So as I move my feet, I'm getting more shadow because I'm looking more into the light. And yet the amount of light that strikes Chloe is exactly the same because I'm in manual mode, it's not changing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop.
Woohoo! 3 minutes. That's like a whole 6-minute shoot we've done today. That's pretty good. Actual photography. Well, so did you see the difference? Did you feel the difference between those two sets of pictures? For me, the TTL was great fun. For me, the TTL was like being in a sports car that someone else is driving. It's exhilarating, it's exciting. I knew what was going to happen. I could see it coming around the corner. Whereas manual is like, I'm the person doing the driving, I'm going a lot slower, and I'm in total control of everything. So that's kind of how it feels. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but that's how it feels to me. The manual is just more manual. Did we get any questions at the end of that?
Yeah, they might not necessarily be relevant to what you just did though.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. So Todd asked, do flashes typically work with electronic shutters?
No, typically they don't. That's not an absolute caveat. The Sony A7 9 Mark, whatever it is, has a fully electronic shutter and many other cameras do. But by and large, if there's a mechanical shutter in your camera, that's the one you need to use. It's shifting slowly, but that's just to make it easier, use mechanical.
Okay, and Reginald asked, do you have to meter every time you move the light?
No, you don't have to meter every single time you move the light, but every single time you move the light will change slightly. Now, as you get more experienced, I know roughly how much of a movement's going to affect the exposure because I've done it thousands of times before. So I don't always meter because experience. But there's nothing wrong with metering because if you take a meter reading, you get to do 2 other things. You get the correct exposure, but you get thinking time. What am I going to do next? I don't really know. And if you're working with non-professional models, if they're not experienced, it gives them confidence in you as a photographer, whether that's genuine or whether that's just psychological. Psychological? That's not a right word.
It's nearly.
But you know what I mean? It's that kind of like big lens syndrome. Look at the size and a kit they've got. They must be really good. It does work. Okay.
And Michael asked, on your Seconic, do you ever use the spot meter?
No. just that's nice and easy. No particular reason, I just haven't used the spot metering. Okay, so very quick look at these images. So if you have a look at my laptop, without actually looking at the images, you can see, rightly or wrongly, there is a consistency in the exposure right the way through. Okay, so the nice thing about manual is if you're wrong, even if you're slightly wrong, you are wrong every single time. So fixing them all in one go, relatively easy to do. But yeah, it's nice and straightforward. It should be reasonably in focus. Second time in. I'll let that actually render up. Yeah, though, maybe not. Let's try that one. There we go. That reasonably in focus every single time. Typical of all the ones to pick. And the exposure is even. Whether you like it or not, it is consistent. So those are kind of the two main settings. Chloe, do you want to just step aside? I'm just going to reset this and we'll have a look at some other bits and pieces. Those are the two main modes I use, but there is a third mode. Let me set this up, hang on. And I've got a question for you about the third mode. Okay, right, let's try it. Have I got it wrong again?
This is the worst one, yeah.
Go on then. Stick on the screen. Ah, okay. Will it focus up? There you go. Oh, yay. Don't ask me why. At least it's in the right place. I've got something. Okay, so we've done TTL, we've done manual mode. The third mode is multi-mode. Now, quick question. What on earth would you ever do with multi-mode? I mean, has anyone actually used multi-mode? I mean, it's a serious question. Other than doing golfers swinging golf clubs, multi-mode is like a stroboscopic thing. So if you have a long exposure, it'll strobe the flash multiple times and you can control how many flashes and the gap between the flashes and a whole bunch of things I've never, ever done. David Bergman did a video on it. If you want to find out what it is, and David Bergman definitely did a video on that subject. But yeah, anyone used it? Let me know in the comments.
Yes, we've got some. Here we go. We've got stop action. Or was it? Oh, jump scare might be you. To overlay multiple subject positions in one frame. To capture motion. Yes, because it is fun.
Yeah, okay.
Good for dancers, great for ballerinas. Yeah. Oh,
okay,
no. Sorry, I've got a sticky mouse. It's not behaving itself. Drops of water. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So maybe I should look at it more. But personally, that's great. It's nice to know that actually a feature is in there. And that's kind of the good thing about flashes, whether it's a big one like this or whether it's a small Speedlight. We're going to get to Speedlights in a bit. There are things that you don't need, but they're in there for people that do need them. Right, okay, so modes, tick, done. We're going to do modeling lamp. So let's have a look at the modeling lamp. So the modeling lamp is a little tiny bit down here. At the moment it says off, which is where mine tends to live. If I press the little light bulb, I can actually turn the modeling lamp on. The trouble is, in here, it doesn't do very much. That is off, that is on, because we've got unbelievably bright video lights. So this isn't perhaps a real world scenario. So what I'm going to do, let's go for a wide shot so I can actually see what's going on. I'm going to turn some lights off. Bear with me. Nothing could possibly go wrong at this point, unless I turn the wrong switch off and turn all the computers off. No, we're still on, okay. Okay, so having done that, can we go back to the close-up again, Frey? Thank you. If I press the bulb a couple of times, it'll cycle through some options. We're on one called proportional, prop. Okay, that's not going to be there if you're in TTL mode, but it'll be there if you're in manual mode. Okay, so, and also as it turns out, multi-mode. So prop or proportional is a way of lighting with your modeling lamp that allows you, let's go for a wide one, here we go, to see the effect of the light before you press the shutter. So, at the moment I'm on 1/64th power. Now if I take my power up to full power, Can you see the difference? The modeling light gets a lot brighter because a lot more light's going to come out the flash. So proportional allows you to get a feel for how much light is going to come out of your flash before you press the shutter. It can be very, very useful if you're working in a reasonably dark environment. Trouble is, you can see the problem with video. It doesn't really like dark environments. So look at proportional if that's a thing that's going to be useful to you. The only downside to that is if you're going to have multiple lights and you've got proportional on multiple lights, if they're not exactly the same light power, if this was a 100 watt second, full power at 100, the LED might be quite a bit dimmer for the modeling lamp than the full power on the 400. So proportional is proportional, but only within the same range of lights. Okay, if that makes sense. So watch out, that can catch you out. So that's that. You can set a power yourself, so you can manually whack up the power. So I can put this up to maximum brightness manually, which is great news because now I can actually come and take a photo. Let's just stick it into, it was on proportional, that could have been very bright. Okay, let's see what we get. Marvelous. And you can see that I kind of get, oh no, wrong software. I kind of get a picture that is sort of right. It doesn't tell you the exposure. Don't be fooled by thinking the modeling light has anything to do with your exposure. It's merely there to help you see the pattern of light as it passes through the light modifier. And certainly don't trust it because they're not the same as an actual flash tube, but it's a guide. It's useful as a guide. There's one more thing I'm going to show you on modeling lamps. Let's bring it back down. Okay. I don't know if it's going to, oh, it did. It focused. Look at that. I can do it in the dark. So if I go into the menu, and this is very specific to higher end flashes. But if you go into the menu on some flashes, you might find the option on the model that I can change it to cont or inter. What do they mean? Continuous modeling light or intermittent, not intermediate, I nearly said that wrong, intermittent modeling lamp, okay? Continuous is the default. Let's put it on intermittent and come out of that. And we'll go wide again, and I'll show you what intermittent does. So continuous modeling lamp basically means the modeling lamp is on all of the time. And I mean all of the time. So you can see it now, but when you press the shutter of your camera and the flash fires, the modeling lamp doesn't turn off. So if you're working with a really wide aperture, you might capture some of the modeling lamp in your exposure. That can be a bit of an issue. So intermittent, if I put it up to full power, we'll see this. Chloe, do not look at the flash. It's going to be really bright. Watch the modeling lamp, okay? It's going to be short, but did you see it go on and off? So it went off a fraction of a second before the flash fired, and it came back on when the flash was ready to go again. Okay, so that might be useful for you if you're working with wide open apertures or you're on the edge of controlling your ambient light. It's also a useful guide for when the flash is ready to go again. Okay, let's reset that because I do not use that setting at all. And I also don't really use the modeling lamp, but I will go and turn the lights back on before I turn that off. Because no one wants to see me trip over in the dark.
We might nod off. It's nice and cosy in the dark.
And I'll turn the modeling lamp off. There's also a fan noise as well, so you might be able to hear the fan. So they do come with a bit of a fan noise, and it will go off once the whole thing's cooled down a bit. All right, so you're watching Adorama live, by the way. If you're just joining us, say hello, give us a thumbs up. That'd be super useful. Give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. You can put your questions down below as well. And we're working through flash settings that you need to know. So we've gone through modes, we've gone through modeling lamp. I talked about the modeling lamp being proportional, giving you a guide for when your light is ready to recycle and ready to fire again. You'll notice with mine, I have the beep turned on. By the way, that's the little test button. All flashes have a little test button. Sometimes it can be the power button, sometimes it can be a separate button, but it's usually glowing in some form or another. So the beep, I like the beep. I'm old, I like beeps, so it's going to be probably one of the first things because a lot of people find it really annoying. But the beep you can turn on or you can turn off, and if you have the beep off, it's fine. These lights recycle so quick, it's perhaps not required unless you're at full power or half power, but I like the beep, so I leave the beep on. Anyone else like the beep? Have we got any other beepers?
Yeah, actually, just as you said that, Misha said, beeps are wonderful. I quite like it.
Chloe's up for the beep as well.
Yeah.
It helps your models. They know, you can get into a rhythm. It's really weird. It's like that sort of musical rhythm that you can move to.
Lot of love for the beep.
Oh, a lot of love for the beep.
Yeah, a lot of love for the beep. Yeah.
Normally I find people are like, oh,
keep the beep. Like the beep.
So can we ask Flashpoint to do a range of beeps? Is anyone up for that? Can we have a choice of beeps? I mean, I'm up for that. I'd like to, yeah, maybe we can have Seth going, go, now, good. I want a Seth version, can I, yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah,
I want that one.
something like that. Yeah, I can do, and we're live whenever it's ready.
Oh, we've got a beep hater. Oh no.
What?
There's a lot of love for the beeps.
No.
Come on, Todd.
No
We need
haters
to
on the,
get you
on,
round.
don't hate the beeper. It's all right. That's okay. You're allowed your own opinion. Okay, cool. So that's that. Another little note as well, whilst we're here, flash duration. I like to know the flash duration because I'm really geeky. Things like the Evolve 200, you have to go and turn that on in the menu. It's on by default on the Explore 400. I just like it. It just tells me. So for example, at 1/32 power, my flash duration is 1/5290th of a second. Because I'm a geek, I just enjoy that. That's good. Okay, so how are we doing? We've got 15 minutes. We'll be all right. So we're going to do high-speed sync. So there is a button here somewhere. Here it is. This little button right here turns a tiny little H on. That is your high-speed sync button. Okay, that is super useful if you want to do high-speed sync flash. Let's do high-speed sync flash. Let's turn the modeling lamp off. Off. There we go. Because it's making a lot of noise now. It's getting quite excited. Okay, so high-speed sync flash. I'm going to show you the problem, and I'll show you where high-speed sync flash comes in. So, Chloe, let me get you a chair. I have a chair, and I'll get you a footstool as well.
So Tosh has put thumbs up, people. Show the love for Gavin, and very nicely underneath, and the team. Thank you. Do you know, I love seeing the hearts going past. So if you can send me some love, that would be great.
That'd be lovely. I mean, I don't see it, but yeah, okay. So I'm going to turn the flash off. I'm going to dial in shallow depth of field, f1.4. I'm going to go for flash sync speed, 250th of a second, ISO 200. Okay, Chloe, here we go. No flash. We know what I'm after. No flash. What do I want when I've got no flash? Not this. I want no flash, no picture. This is light that I have no control over, contaminating the scene. Now it could be this is daylight, a different color to my flash. It could be this is harsh light from a window and I want soft light from soft boxes. Whatever it is, we try to get rid of the ambient light for a reason. So to get rid of the ambient light, I'm going to change my shutter speed. No problem. Shutter speed 2,000th of a second. Here we go, no flash. 2,000th of a second, f1.4, ISO 200, no flash, no picture. Trouble is, my flash will only work at this, my camera will only work at its flash sync speed, 250th of a second, unless you turn on high speed sync. So high speed sync turned on, it allows me to go past that. We're not going to go into how it does it because we've got videos about that right here on Adorama TV, so go check those out. But it just allows me to go beyond my flash sync speed. And as somebody asked earlier, can you do it with TTL? Yeah, when you're short of time. Too right you can. Okay, lovely. Let's pop this here. And pop that there. Bring this down. So I'm going to ask Chloe to lean in towards me. Fantastic. Okay. No. I do the tripping over, you do the sitting on the seats. It's a great system, it works. Okay, so that works really nicely. That gives us a lovely shallow depth of field. I'll try and get your eyes in focus. Hold on, let's just get one. That's lovely, beautiful. With a really shallow depth of field, you can certainly spot if you get your focus point wrong. Okay, yeah, that works quite nicely. Somebody asked earlier about adding a second flash. Just for you, I've got a camera. Just for you, I've got a second flash. There we go. So this is, oh, just hit the confidence monitor. It's fine. This is the Flashpoint Zoom Lithium Ion 3 R2 somewhere in there as well. Oh, because it's the Olympus version. Not that it matters because it's off camera, so it's somewhat irrelevant. Okay, let's pop that in behind. So I can put a little bit of light in behind. I'm going to turn it on. Did I mention earlier about knowing where the on button was for your flash? Because it's the thing that occasionally I've been known to forget. It's very rare, very rare. I mean, literally I can count on the fingers of one hand how many times I've forgotten to turn it on this week. Actually, probably just today. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so let's first of all take this. I'm going to meter this.
A little chat going on about whether high-speed sync takes more battery power.
Yeah, is it good? What's the consensus?
It's mixed, actually.
My opinion is yes, it does. Definitely takes more battery power out of your batteries. Does it matter? Not really. If you're on location, it's probably more of an issue because getting a battery recharge is quite a bit more of a challenge. Right, so let's get this set up into manual mode. I'm going to pop this near your chin, and I'm going to get this to meter f1.4. So I could do trial and error, or I can just do a flash meter. So the 858 from Sekonic has the ability to meter high-speed sync flash. Pretty much the only flash meter that will. But the backlight I'm doing by eye, and it's way too bright. So let's turn it right the way down. I'm just going to make sure it's on its own separate group. Yes, it is. It's on the same channel, still on channel 5, so it fires, but it's on group B, so I can control the brightness of that background light without affecting the key light, which is on group A.
I've got a question about the...
Yeah, far away. I'm going to take some pictures.
The backlight. So Carlo said, what is the correct way to meter the small backlight? Okay,
there is no correct way, Carlo. The correct way is the way that you do it. If you like it, you've nailed it. In this case, I'm doing it by eye. But if you wanted to get a flash meter out, make a note of it all and work it all out and kind of say, yep, that's what I want to do next time. I mean, why not? Kind of lovely. So no rights and no wrongs in photography. It's just a matter of what works for you. Of course, there's always one where it doesn't work. There you go. But that's kind of nice. So I quite like it in black and white. We'll do one last picture. Okay, beautiful. So shallow depth of field, really, really nice. Drops off very, very quickly. f1.4, full control of the light using the high-speed sync feature. Okay, how long have we got? We've got 10 minutes. Any other questions on that one before I put this away? Keep going. Sam's like, just keep going, just keep going.
There's just so many comments tonight. It's great. I'm forgetting what you're doing and I'm just concentrating.
I'll be honest, so am I. So.
It's great. A lot of people are answering questions, so if we aren't getting around to it, then it's great. Thank you for doing that, everyone.
Okay, so let's get rid of this light for now. Oh. And let's swap it out because not all lights are big ones like this. In fact, the chances are you're going to have something a little bit smaller. Chloe, do you want to just hop out of the way? Let's move this out of the way. Smash in. We'll grab this light. There we go. So this is the little Speedlight, and it has a different set of remote controls on the back. I'm going to go pop it on the stand because it's going to be a little bit easier to show you what's going on rather than trying to hold it. Right, I'm hoping about there somewhere. Look at that. Perfect. It's in. Has it got face detect? I don't think I put face detect on that one. Okay. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. Okay, so the controls are different, and yet they're still basically the same set of controls. They may be in menus rather than anything else, but there are still groups and channels right down here, groups and channels. I still have the turn the flash into non-wireless or wireless mode. I have high-speed sync button right here. So there's see that, I don't know if you can spot it, but there's a little tiny H, so I can turn high-speed sync on. So even though this is a completely different flash, much, much smaller, the basic controls are the same, which is why I was using the other flash, because it was bigger to see the controls. However, there is one control on this Speedlight that you won't find on a big flash. Actually, there might be more than one, but what one is it? What one am I going to be talking about? Stick it in the comments. What Speedlight feature am I going to specifically finish with that's not available on the larger flashes? I'm just wondering if there's more than one now I'm looking at it. There probably is. No, reset buttons. It's got a modelling lamp as well.
Zoom.
Hmm?
Zoom.
Are you just making noises? Or?
No, well, I could be, yeah. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom.
Lots of zoom.
There we go. You're right. Zoom. Yeah. Exactly it. That is, I think, the thing.
Well done, everyone. Zoom.
Did everybody put Zoom? It's the TTL people, isn't it? They know it all. They're brilliant. So yeah, it's the zoom function. So there is a zoom function here. If I get my microphone really close, hear that? That's the sound of the internals in the flash head up here, physically zooming, actually moving optics inside of the head. But why on earth would you be worried about this if you were doing off-camera flash? Because that's an on-camera flash thing. It's designed to adjust the spread of the light so it matches your lens. Okay, so if you've got a tight lens, it's going to be really tight. But if you've got a wide-angle lens, it's going to be really wide. That's fine. You get it. We're never doing this again. It's just mad. So the way I'm going to demonstrate it is to put it up against the wall like this. I've currently set it to 10 millimeters. Don't get excited. This is not a special flash that has an extra wide head. This is an Olympus calibrated flash. All they've done is just change the menu from 20 to 10. So, but it's still wide. Okay, so if you got this and it said Canon on the side, it would be a 20 millimeter. But because Micro Four Thirds Olympus is slightly different, they've calibrated it to match our lenses. Very kind. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's take a meter reading for that. Let's go back to non-TTL flash, and not TTL flash, non-high-speed sync flash. Reset my settings, reset my lenses. Go for a nice wide lens, and let's just take a flash meter reading. So when in doubt, start somewhere in the middle. Let's go 1/8 power. And see what we get. Chloe, I'm going to pop this near your chin. That is not a lot of light coming out of that. Because it's on... Not going to explain. It's on B. I'm on A. It's on a different group.
No one noticed.
No, I don't think anyone noticed. I think I got away with that. We'll lose that in the edit.
Edit out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 1/8 power.
Chloe knows all the jokes now.
Okay, let's just take we're going to do it by eye. Oh yeah, I'm also, actually not bad. Do you ever do that where you got everything set wrong and you take a picture and it's the best of the day? You think all that effort, all that planning, all that experience, totally messed up the camera settings. I love that. That's brilliant. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again in color and at the settings I was going to use. Okay, so that's a little bit dark. I'm going to take the power up a little bit. Let's try maybe a 1/2 power. That is definitely not doing what it's supposed to do. Let's have a little look. And it is... Let's go there and see why it's not behaving itself.
A few people have said, is Chloe crazy too?
It's
the boots. It's the boots. A lot of love for Chloe's new boots. They are fabulous.
There we go. Live, absolutely anything can happen, including pressing wrong buttons when you're not really...
No one noticed. We were all transfixed by the beautiful boots. Yeah.
Okay, let's try that again. There we go. F16. F12.7, which is a really weird reading. F11. I'm at F5.6 if you remember, so I'm bringing this down. I am at 1/32nd power. 1/32nd power. F5.6 is the reading. Let's see how it actually looks, however. Okay, so what we need Chloe to do is just turn and look towards the light a little bit. There we go. And I probably popped it a little bit too close to the wall, but that's me. Okay, so that's quite nice. We get that nice kind of spread of light. But if I get the light and I change the zoom to the other end of the scale, 100 millimeters, which if you have any other brand of flash for non-Olympus compatible cameras, it would say 200 millimeters. Okay. I won't change the power output, but you'll spot, can you spot the difference? Chloe, you need to take a baby step that way. Whoop, that's plenty. Yeah, that's it. I could have moved the light, to be honest, but sometimes it's just easier to move your model. It is really bright. It's hard light, it's harsh light, it's always going to be. But it's also much brighter because you're taking all of the light and squeezing it into a smaller area. So it's not actually brighter, it just doesn't spread so much. So I've turned it down by 2/3 of a stop. Let's take a nice big wide picture so we can see what's going on. Okay. Which is kind of cool, but that is the zoom. That shows you how the zoom affects the picture. And we've got one last one to finish on. See if I can do this in a few seconds. One last flash setting you really need to know. Let's put it back here. Okay, how's that? Yeah, up a bit. How's that? That'll do. Okay, so in the zoom settings, when I change my zoom, I can change it here. But if I keep going, eventually I'll get to one with just little lines. I don't know if you can see that, but it is just a set of little lines so that effectively the zoom is crossed out. There is no zoom. What does that mean? Well, that means that the zoom is now controlled by my transmitter. Okay, so that is what that means. It means your transmitter is now in control of the zoom. So if I come in here to the zoom setting, can you hear that? Oh, no, because I'm in auto, gone too far. Okay, so my transmitter is now in control of my zoom settings. So just to finish off, last bit. So this is the very last section. If you've enjoyed this, let me know in the comments. If you want to see more crazy live stuff from Adorama, you only have to wait 2 hours. Daniel's going to be back in 2 hours doing stuff from the Adorama store. Ring flash. Actually, I might tune in for that because I've never really got my head around ring flash. Okay, so remote. I can come up here and dial in my zoom at 24 millimeters, which is the widest it'll let me do. Sorry, Chloe, that was a little hair trigger. 24 millimeters, and without having to climb up and change my flash, I can change it to 200, which we know is 100, without having to change anything. Okay, I can go wide. So that's what that setting means on your flash, on your Speedlight. It means you can remotely control the zoom, and if you had it on camera, the lens would be the zoom at that point. That's your sort of automatic zoom control. Right, there we go. Wow, that brings us very neatly to the top of the hour. I've no idea whether anyone found that useful. I quite enjoyed it though, it was good fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of love.
Yeah.
Love. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great. There's lots of people chatting, and yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, from my side of things, I really enjoyed it.
And I didn't drop my camera once, so that's good news. I know, I'm so pleased. Right, okay, so that brings us to the end of this live. If you've liked it, let me know in the comments. Give it a thumbs up, give us a thanks. Give a thanks out to Chloe. If you want to find out more about Chloe, you'll find her Instagram, Chloe K Model, is in the video description, along with all of the gear that we're using in this, including the backgrounds and the flash and the cameras and the lens. They're all in the video description, so go check those out. I'd like to thank behind the desk, we got the awesome Sam and Freya. There they are.
Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you'll join us for our next live, which is 4 weeks today.
We think it's 4 weeks today, yes.
It's the 9th. Is that the 9th of May?
Yeah, let's call it that.
I think so.
Definitely, around about that time.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all your questions.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks very much for coming along. Thanks for Adorama for doing this. Stay tuned. Daniel is going to be live in less than 2 hours' time in the Adorama store. And if you haven't had enough lives, Seth will be live on Wednesday with another Coffee with the Creative. So go check that out as well. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.